Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Anderson and I am a Principal Microsoft Consultant with SerenITaaS, and I'll be your presenter today. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. So first off, let's review today's agenda. In part 1, I'm going to start by giving you an overview of different types of modern technology, including public cloud, Azure, Office 365, Intune, and Windows Server 2012 R2. And then I'm going to discuss key areas that can be addressed by these types of modern technologies, key areas within your business, that is. And then in part 2, we'll look at specific solutions and scenarios that map to those three key areas. And those areas are efficient growth, having the ability to conduct business anywhere, and safeguarding your business. And then in part 3 of the presentation, I'll discuss how you can get started with your journey towards modernization, and I'll take any questions that you have at that time. So the first technology I'm going to review is public cloud. And with all the talk of cloud computing today, I think it could be helpful to take a step back and talk about what the cloud really is and why it should matter to your business. Well, cloud computing by definition would refer to a growing collection of integrated services, those being compute, storage, data, networking, and applications, all of which are available on demand via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. So what does that mean to your business? Well, it means that you can be up and running fast. It means you instantly have infinite global scale capabilities. It means you can run your operations on a more cost-effective basis because with the cloud, you only pay for what you use. And it also means that you instantly have enterprise-level security. I really love this quote on the left-hand side of this slide, where it talks about the cloud providing the capabilities and services that were previously only available to the largest enterprises, to all companies. And I really think that is the great thing about the cloud. One of the great things that is that it's democratized IT. And I think in some cases, SMBs can even be at an advantage because you may have less internal barriers for cloud adoption, which allows you to take advantage of the cloud's capabilities before enterprises are able to. Okay, so we talked about the public cloud in general. Now I'm going to talk about why the Microsoft cloud. Before I go through this slide, though, I really want to be clear about one thing. And that is, here at SerenITaaS, we really are vendor agnostic. This slide says why the Microsoft Cloud, because solutions based on Microsoft technologies are the focus of this webinar. The integration that you get with the various Microsoft products makes it logical to discuss them as a whole. But I don't want to give you the impression that we don't support, and in some cases even advocate other cloud vendors. So with that said, today we're talking about Microsoft technologies, so why the Microsoft Cloud? Well, Microsoft does a great job at hybrid. They offer the unique abilities for SMBs to choose their own path, whether that includes investing in your own servers or leveraging the cloud to build and scale quickly and pay as you go. Whether you're talking about servers, or in the case of Office 365, if you're talking about office productivity tools. Microsoft offers a simple, flexible platform that really does provide a familiar experience to your users so that you can choose the best path for your business. Because let's face it, for a lot of small and mid-sized businesses, it isn't practical if the cloud is an all or none proposition. You need the flexibility to run some applications on premises while moving others to the cloud only when it makes sense for your business. And as I said, this is where Microsoft really does a great job. They are the only vendor that offers a consistent technology platform, whether you're running servers on site, virtualizing your workloads, or moving them to the cloud. Okay, so on to Microsoft's cloud platform and why your business would benefit from utilizing Azure. So Azure enables you to quickly build, deploy, and manage applications across a global network of Microsoft managed data centers. You can build applications using any language, tool, or framework, and you can integrate your cloud applications with your existing IT environment. You can be up and running fast, scale up or down it as needed, and avoid high capital costs, paying only for what you use. Azure offers a 99.95% availability SLA, 24/7 technical support, and round-the-clock service health monitoring. When you think about cloud computing, I think a lot of times a lot of individuals think about virtual machines, which you can see on the right-hand side of this slide beside the compute section. But really, there's so much more to what's available within Azure. As you can see, there's a number of different application services, storage services, as well as network services. Talked a little bit about the Azure footprint. So this slide is here really just to illustrate that for you. So you can see that Azure is operating in many, many different regions at this point in time. Currently, there are 17 Azure data center regions globally. So by moving your data to Azure, you can, as I said, instantly have global scale. Okay, so on to the next Microsoft Cloud offering, which is Office 365. And really, I think the best description of Office 365 can be seen on the left-hand side of this slide here. That is, Office 365 is your complete Office in the cloud. And when I say complete Office, first of all, I mean the Office applications that you know and have been using for years. So those would be Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, etc. With Office 365, you get these desktop applications. The difference is you're now subscribing to Office, which means you will always get the latest version of these Office applications on your desktop. And in addition to the desktop apps, you also get Office Mobile on your smartphones for viewing and editing on the go. But that's not all. There's so much more that you get with Office 365. You get cloud-based productivity services hosted by Microsoft, including business class email, file sharing via SharePoint and OneDrive for Business, HD video conferencing, and instant messaging and presence, all working together and connected to Office so you have anywhere access to everything you need to run your business. And these are all enterprise-level services optimized for smaller businesses. So it's easy to set up and manage and comes with a financially backed SLA and 24/7 technical phone support for critical issues. Okay, next I'm going to discuss Microsoft Intune. So if you're familiar with Microsoft SCCM or System Center Configuration Manager, you can think of Intune as SCCM for the cloud. Intune offers mobile device management, mobile application management, and PC management capabilities from the cloud. To give you an idea of what you can do with Intune, capabilities include the ability to restrict users from accessing corporate resources on unenrolled or non-compliant devices, the ability to apply device settings and initiate remote actions such as passcode resets, device locks, the enforcement of data encryption, or the full wipe of a lost or stolen device, and the ability to collect information about hardware configurations and software installed on managed computers, deploy software as well, and manage Windows firewall settings. So it really is a very, very powerful tool. And because it's set up in the cloud, it's very easy to get set up and running. On to Windows Server 2012 R2. It really is astounding when you look at the number of major technology advances Microsoft has delivered in the Windows Server operating system over the last 10 years. Some of the key capabilities are highlighted in this table, which really does show breakthrough innovations and enhancements in the areas of performance, availability, business continuity, data storage, and remote access. I'm not going to go through all of these features individually. However, on the next slide, I will highlight 4 features in particular. The first feature that I want to highlight is called Hyper-V. Hyper-V is virtualization that's built into Windows Server 2012 R2. I want to highlight the built-in component here. Hyper-V isn't something that you need to purchase or license separately. It's built into the operating system. And just like other hypervisors, it enables you to run multiple operating systems on the same server, helping you to get the most out of your hardware investment and reduce related costs. The second feature is called Hyper-V Replica. Now, Hyper-V Replica allows you to automatically replicate your server to another location over a common broadband connection, which offers a very cost-effective way for you to provide DR capabilities for your organization to be able to recover quickly and reduce data loss. The third feature is called storage spaces. And the best way to think about storage spaces is as virtualization for your storage. It gives you the ability to consolidate all of your SAS and SATA connected disks and group them together as a storage pool. Now, once the pool's been created, you can then assign logical disks. The fourth feature is called Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. Now, VDI provides a hosted desktop experience that's powered by remote desktop services. So if you're familiar with RDS or terminal services, VDI is the latest iteration of this functionality. So on the subject of Windows Server 2012 R2, I just want to quickly point out that if you're still running legacy operating systems, now certainly is a great time to upgrade those servers. As most of you are probably aware, Windows Server 2003 is quickly reaching end of support. That's end of extended support. If you're not familiar with the Microsoft support lifecycle, typically products are supported for 10 years. The first portion of that support life cycle, is the first 5 years, and it's referred to as mainstream support. During that time frame, in addition to the patches that are released by Microsoft, you could also request feature enhancements. Whereas once you get past mainstream support and you're into extended support, and at that point the operating system is fully supported, you can call Microsoft anytime you need to. They will release new security patches, but there won't be any feature enhancements during that second 5 years. So Windows Server 2003 is quickly approaching the point in time where you'll no longer be able to get security updates. And I'll go through what that really could mean to your business in the next slide. And Windows Server 2008, as you can see, has already reached mainstream support. So now really is a great time to start thinking about modernizing your on-premises servers. To Windows Server 2003, what does end of support mean? Well, as I said, it means no more updates. And to put that into perspective, you can see here that 37 critical updates were released in 2013 for Windows Server 2012 R2. It also means no compliance. So if your organization is one that does business with Visa and MasterCard, you certainly won't pass compliance audits. So if your organization is audited and you fail, in a worst case scenario, Visa and MasterCard could certainly choose to no longer do business with your organization until you became compliant. And it means no safe haven. Now what I mean by that is it impacts both physical and virtualized servers. It also impacts all editions of Windows Server 2003, whether those be Small Business Server, Standard Edition, Enterprise Edition. It doesn't matter. It applies to all versions. So now is the time to act. Okay, that concludes part 1 of our presentation. So before I get into part 2, I added this slide, this so what slide here, really just to highlight the fact that I do certainly realize that not everyone is a technology junkie and not everyone gets excited by new features and new functionality. So some of you may be saying to yourself at this point in time, so what? How will my business benefit? How does this translate to ways that affect my business? So that's what we're going to go over in part 2 of the presentation. 2, I'm going to illustrate how 3 key areas of business can be improved by modern technology. So those 3 key areas are efficient growth, so having the ability to adapt to change and getting the most out of your technology, having the ability to conduct business anywhere, so getting your work done anywhere, easily working together with colleagues that are on the road, for example, and safeguarding your business, so being prepared for the unexpected and protecting and controlling your data. Okay, so in the first part of section 2, we're going to go over solutions for growing efficiently. And those will be broken down into smaller subsections as well. And as you can see, those subsections will be flexible and on-demand cloud services, mobile device management, and server performance and efficiency. So this first slide in the flexible and on-demand cloud services section is talking about getting the right balance for your business. So as we had previously discussed, for a lot of small and mid-sized businesses, it really isn't practical if the cloud is an all or none proposition. You need the flexibility to run some applications on premises while moving others to the cloud. Well, with products like Office 365, Windows Server, and Azure, you can choose to host your applications in the way that best suits your business, whether that's on-site, in the cloud, or both. Also, if you choose to run servers on premises, you can get more applications on the same server. And of course, that would be utilizing the Hyper-V functionality that we talked about, the built-in virtualization that's included with Windows Server 2012 R2. Okay, on to the next slide where it's referring to having the ability to stay current and competitive for less, which really does sound great, doesn't it? Well, with Office 365, Azure, and Intune, you can do this by avoiding the upfront costs and moving to a flexible subscription-based payment model. This provides the benefit of allowing you to reallocate the capital funds that would have been necessary to deploy the infrastructure required for their on-premise equivalents, and to shift the cost to more predictable operating expenses where you pay only for what you use. And of course, once you've moved to this model, you get the benefit of flexibility. So to be able to add additional users or services to Office 365 or Intune when you need to, and to scale applications within Azure up or down as needed to to meet your changing business demands. Okay, stay in front of the pack. So if you've worked in IT for any amount of time, you know the amount of effort and time that goes into keeping applications up to date. Well, with Office 365, everything is fully managed and updated in the cloud. Your IT folks no longer have to focus on continually buying and updating software, and your employees never have to lose productivity due to the downtime associated with updates again. Office 365 adds the latest innovation, features, and capabilities every month. It's what's referred to as an evergreen service. So you and your employees will always be working with the latest version of the Office client, as well as Office server applications. So those would be Exchange, SharePoint, Link, etc. So traditionally, when sizing servers or storage, it was a common practice to size the environment for anywhere from 5 to 7 years out. Unfortunately, the outcome of this practice was often a lot of unused capacity initially and not enough resources for the final couple of years. Well, thankfully, with Office 365, Intune, and Azure, it's no longer necessary to carry on this type of inefficient resource planning. And that's really what this slide is talking about, having the ability to adjust to changing business needs. I know it's a reiteration at this point, but with Office 365 and Intune, you can quickly and easily equip new and existing employees with the applications and services they need. No lengthy deployment process, no one-size-fits-all pricing. Just check the boxes for the specific applications required, and your people are ready to go with the latest software they need to do their jobs. And with Azure, you can host your business applications in the cloud, and you know they are ready to scale as needed as your company grows. Simplify the details and focus on the big picture. We touched on this a little bit already. I do really think it's worth repeating though. If you've ever been involved in a project to upgrade an on-premises Microsoft back office infrastructure application, such as Exchange, then you know what a time-consuming process this can be. Personally, I've spent as long as 3 years working on a single global Exchange upgrade. Mind you, this was for an environment that has approximately 125,000 mailboxes and is certainly an extreme scenario. But even for environments with small amounts of mailboxes and relatively low complexity, a transition to the latest version of Exchange can easily take 2 to 3 months. And the legacy Microsoft on-premises software model meant upgrades had to be repeated on a recurring basis, resulting in what could oftentimes feel like an endless cycle. Often companies would just finish upgrading to the latest version, then have to start planning for the next upgrade, possibly because one of their executives would like to utilize functionality that's only available in the latest version. Well, as I said before, Office 365 is an evergreen service and it eliminates all of this. Microsoft handles the updates, security patches, and the version upgrades, which greatly simplifies operational activities so IT can focus efforts on more strategic initiatives. Okay, on to mobile device management. And this slide is talking about making mobile access easier and less expensive to manage. So we talked about the capabilities built into Windows Intune in the introduction. As a quick review, Intune provides cloud-based management of your PCs, tablets, and mobile devices, and Intune is based entirely in the cloud. So in effect, all devices are managed remotely, which provides a very fast and simple implementation. Some companies may be primarily interested in mobile device management though. So I want to mention that as of Q1 2015, so right now it's available, Office 365 includes built-in mobile device management features. These new MDM features include uh, helping you to manage and secure corporate resources, having the ability to apply mobile device settings and security policies, and giving you the ability to perform a selective wipe of Office 365 data. Store your data without spending a fortune, your growing data, excuse me. With storage spaces that's built into Windows Server 2012 R2, and we talked about the feature a little bit in the introductory part of this presentation, you get the flexible data storage you need without investing in expensive solutions. You can easily allocate storage to users on a just enough and just in time basis, and then scale it up or down as needed. And with the storage tiering technology that's included in the R2 version of 2012, you can also make sure they can get to their files fast by taking advantage of the latest storage technology in today's computers, like SSD drives, that enable much faster access compared to traditional drives. In addition to the on-premise capability of storage spaces, you could also move your corporate data to the cloud, for example, with OneDrive for Business, where each of your users is allocated 1 terabyte worth of storage. That's per user, folks. And that 1 terabyte at some point in the future, very near future, is going to be changing to an unlimited amount of storage. Okay, use software innovation to get the most out of your hardware, excuse me. So this is referring to Hyper-V, which we've discussed already. Uh, so Hyper-V, just to quickly review, enables you to add more applications to the same server while keeping a separate environment for each application. And again, this is built into the operating system. It really does help you reduce your on-premises server costs, not just the hardware itself, but related costs like maintenance and power bills as well. But that's just part of what virtualization can do. Once you virtualize, it also makes it dramatically faster and easier to move the contents of your server to new hardware, whether that new hardware is on site or if it's in the cloud as well, because Azure utilizes Hyper-V as well. So it's very easy to move Hyper-V virtual machines, from on-premises to the cloud. Okay, that concludes our solutions around efficient growth, and now we're going to look at solutions for having the ability to conduct business anywhere. And again, those will be broken down into smaller sections, being productivity on the go, sharing documents and collaborating, online conferencing, and remote access to business applications. So Office 365 allows you to be productive wherever you are. Whether you're working in your office or on the go, you can get the same familiar set of office productivity tools, which, as we discussed, will always be the latest versions. This allows you to create, edit, and share documents from a variety of devices, including your PC or your Mac, your iPad, or a wide variety of tablets and mobile phones. As you may have heard, there's now a preview version of Office 365 mobile available for Androids as well. So on the last slide, we discussed being productive on the go and having access to your Office suite wherever you are. Of course, it's not enough to have access to the Office applications, though. You also need to access your documents wherever you are. And OneDrive for Business enables this, as I said, by providing 1 terabyte of personal storage per individual. This allows for storage of all your files online and the ability to access them from anywhere. When you don't have access to the internet, OneDrive for Business gives you the same rich experience as when you're online as well, through locally cached copies of the files, which allows for editing of the documents when you're offline and for those files to be automatically synced when you're back online. Okay, this slide is talking about having the ability to collaborate easily on important documents. So a great feature of OneDrive for Business is the automatic version control of your documents, which allows you to easily add, respond to, and track comments and status updates, and eliminates the need to email documents for review, which of course can sometimes result in losing track of the latest version of the file. It really isn't a very efficient way to collaborate on a document with your colleagues. This slide is referring to Yammer, and if you're not familiar with Yammer, which is included with Office 365, you can think of it as Facebook for corporations. It provides a familiar social experience to share ideas, to learn from experiences, and provide feedback. You're able to participate in Yammer conversations right next to your document, on your mobile device or any app with a Yammer feed. The intent behind this application is to allow you to drive two-way conversations with your partners and suppliers to help all parties better understand each other's needs, and of course from that develop deeper connections, which can accelerate your company's ability to adapt and make smarter decisions. One of the great benefits of Office 365 is that it helps protect your data without creating business roadblocks for your employees, partners, and customers. And that's what this slide is talking about working together easily. Well, with SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business, you can easily share documents with external customers and partners while knowing your data and documents are protected with enterprise-grade security and flexible permissions. Okay, online conferencing. So just as we're doing right now, you can use Link, which is included in Office 365, to meet and work together from anywhere with rich video conferencing capabilities. The ability to view documents and presentations is included as well, and you can also communicate in real time with voice-to-voice and instant messaging. This allows you to work together whether you're at the office, at home, or on the road, so you can reduce travel time and costs without sacrificing a personal connection. It's still referring to online conferencing. However, it's meant to illustrate the Meet Online Anytime capabilities of Lync. In most cases, you would probably review a coworker's calendar in Outlook, then schedule an online meeting in Lync. But you don't have to schedule your meetings in this manner. With Lync, you have the flexibility of utilizing the Meet Right Now functionality to hold ad hoc meetings on the fly. You can also add more attendees from multiple locations to expand the conversation as needed, and instant message a coworker for an answer on a quick question. This can all be done using your favorite device. Lync's communication and collaboration features are available on your Windows phone, Android tablet, as well as iPhone and iPad devices. On to remote access. The explosion in mobile devices has made it easier than ever to work from anywhere. However, in some instances, you may not want your business applications accessible via mobile devices, possibly out of concern for data being put at risk. When you have these types of applications, like Microsoft Dynamics CRM, for example, you can choose to host them at the main office while still offering your employees the flexibility to get to those applications from remote PCs and tablets using Virtual Desktop Infrastructure, or VDI. You can also enable access to business applications hosted in the cloud on Azure. This gives you the ability to provide the same remote access and a consistent experience, whether your applications are on premises or in the cloud. Okay, that concludes the section on Business Anywhere. So the solutions we're going to discuss in this next section around safeguarding your business fall under the categories of controlling access, managing mobile devices, protecting data, backing up your files, and being ready for the unexpected. So we all know accessing data on mobile devices is essential for modern businesses, but so is protecting that data, of course. And that's why, as I mentioned, Office 365 now includes remote data wipe and other powerful security features to protect your data on your mobile devices. You can selectively wipe data as well as combat data loss from your devices with the ability to selectively remove data and also, if you choose to enforce encryption. Now, we just looked at this slide under the Business Anywhere section, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I just want to quickly point out that it's certainly applicable to safeguarding your business as well, though, because, as we discussed, you don't need to store everything on your device in order to have anywhere access to it. So that sensitive data is either safely on your on-premises server or on your server in the Azure cloud. Okay, in the upper right-hand corner of this slide, it says Simplify Management, and I would add to that while keeping IT in control. So as we've discussed, you can manage policies and devices with ease with Office 365, which helps you secure and manage corporate resources, while at the same time embracing a BYOD, or bring your own device, trend, and really preserving a consistent productivity experience. And as well, Microsoft Intune also enables this BYOD trend, and it gives you so much more as well. With Intune, as we talked about, you also get PC management and application management capabilities on top of the mobile device management capabilities that you get with Office 365. Okay, you may or may not be aware that Once you move your email to Office 365, you no longer have to worry about spam or email threats. That is managing applications to combat these items, because Office 365 includes built-in, always up-to-date spam and virus protection for your email. And also with Office 365, you of course get the physical security measures used for its global data centers. So security and privacy are two of the largest considerations around cloud services. When you put your data in the Microsoft Cloud, you can rest assured that it has been built from the ground up on three guiding principles: security, compliance, and privacy. Because of this, the Microsoft Cloud offers best-in-class security through, first off, aggressive defense by Microsoft's own digital crimes unit. If you're not familiar with them, I would suggest that you search that term, Microsoft DCU or Digital Crimes Unit. They work closely in collaboration with law enforcement to protect against botnets, malware, and other threats. Microsoft also aggressively maintains commitment to industry standards and organizational compliance. By putting your data in the Microsoft Cloud, your organization will be in compliance with a number of industry standards. A few are listed on this slide, and the remainder can be seen at the Azure and Office Trust Center. And as well, Microsoft routinely publishes their law enforcement transparency reports. As an example, Microsoft recently released a government access to data overview document. Drop me a note if you would like me to send you a link to this document. A couple of interesting points that I'll mention from it are that as of the date of the document, Microsoft had not been compelled to provide any enterprise customer data pursuant to a national security law, nor had Microsoft been compelled to provide customer data for an enterprise customer based outside the US for any reason. The final two areas of solutions that we will review involve backup and disaster recovery. Before doing so, I want to review what each of these terms really means though, and how each benefits your business. One easy way to think about the difference is that backup is about making sure that you don't lose the files or resources you create and utilize while doing your job, while disaster recovery is about making sure that you don't lose your files and that you don't lose the time and effort it can take to get your systems back up and running in the event of an unexpected outage. If you've ever gone through it, then you know loss of files can be a major disruption, causing you to lose hours or even days worth of work. Well, with OneDrive for Business, you never have to worry about losing your latest files because they are safely stored in the cloud. Also, with Windows Server 2012 R2, it's easy to save copies of your folders and files to a second location, whether that location is in a second data center or in the Azure cloud. This slide is referring to being ready for the unexpected, so disaster recovery. By combining on-premises Windows Server 2012 R2 and Azure, you can recover quickly from disasters, whether they're natural or man-made, and get back to business in minutes rather than days or weeks. In the past, the price of traditional disaster recovery solutions were often cost prohibitive for small and mid-sized businesses. Now this functionality is built into Windows Server 2012 R2. Specifically, the Hyper-V replica functionality that we talked about in part 1 of the presentation, which allows you to replicate your virtual machines and their data to a second Hyper-V host server, which can be running on-premises at a partner site or in the cloud. You can even create an additional tertiary replica site for an even greater degree of protection if you choose to do so. Changes made to the running virtual machine are replicated at an interval that you choose, which can be 15 minutes, 5 minutes, or 30 seconds. So you have the flexibility to choose how often you need to replicate, depending on your specific needs. The disaster recovery functionality that I talked about on the previous slide is only applicable if you decide to deploy your applications on premises. If you utilize Azure or Office 365, you can sit back and count on the reliability of the Microsoft Cloud, with the 24/7 technical support that it offers, as well as the financially backed SLA uptime guarantee. That concludes part 2 of today's presentation. I would now like to talk to you about next steps and how you could get started on your journey towards modernization. At SerenITaaS, we currently have some offers that are specifically geared around planning and envisioning the modernization of your technology. They're listed on the left-hand side of this slide. I'll quickly review each one though. The first is no-fee deep dive presentations or demonstrations on any of the technology that we talked about today. Today's presentation was fairly high level for the most part, and it was really meant to give you an idea of what can be done, what's possible. So if you'd like to actually see the technology in action, or you'd like more information about any specific technology, we'd be more than happy to meet with you either online or at your place of business to provide that demonstration or presentation. The second offer is no-fee Office 365 or Azure trial setups. So we could set up the environment for you and also be there for you as you're exploring and getting to know the technology. The third offer is no-fee on-site infrastructure modernization assessments and roadmap planning. Now this engagement is capped at 2 days, but for up to 2 days you can have a Microsoft consultant on site to assist you with assessing your environment and planning what modern technologies make sense. And the fourth offer listed here is really a custom engagement based on your requirements. So whether that's for on-premise solutions, hybrid solutions, or cloud solutions, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about your requirements. That concludes today's presentation. I'd like to thank you very much for attending. I hope you found it useful. For any additional questions or to schedule a follow-up, please contact our solutions department. The email address is solutions@serenitaas.com, or we can also be reached at either of the phone numbers listed here. Again, thank you very much for attending.